Aquarius, this is going to be your April reading. I am going to I started the Gemini reading with a different deck, so I'm going to start with the Eye of Ra for you, just to see kind of to see what's going on through your perspective. I don't really, okay, boundaries just came out real strong, and right behind that is the Pisces in the reverse. You could be like making a boundary not to overcommit yourself. You could be wanting to discontinue a relationship with a commitment that you did have. Just with the boundaries coming out so quickly and so vehemently, it's almost like you feel, you know how women will get into a relationship with men, or men will be in a relationship with women, or same sex, it doesn't matter. Um, there's this almost like a time frame. Some people think that it's fine to just date and never get married. Some people think that they want to get married right away. Other people are like, well, I'll give you a year, I'll give you 2 years, maybe I'll even give you 3. But after that, you're cut off. Like, at that point, you're wasting my time. Okay. There's something about that coming through. You're wanting to, yeah, look, you want your blessings and you want them now. Okay. I want my money and I want it now. There was a lot in the Gemini read about this. If you want to go look at water as it pertains to having courage or the lightning striking, you could be having a realization that something, you're going to have to put up boundaries because somebody has not committed to having boundaries, or somebody has committed to real clearly wanting something from you that you are not able to provide. Message. Okay. That's pretty clear. I feel something about, like, you're not bitter about it, you're not upset, but there's just something that's been made clear. And it's something that I don't know if it affects you or not. Let's see. Not really. Like, emotionally speaking, you're kind of indifferent to this, perhaps, or maybe you're a little bit not indifferent, because I think you're realizing this, but it's like suddenly understanding that the job that you're at, they're never going to promote you, or the position that you hold is not one that you're going to want to like invest in long term. It's something like that where it doesn't warrant a whole bunch of emotion and like kind of like a relationship. So this might not be a relationship. This might be more of a scenario where you were trying to overlap or bring together, or somehow I'm hearing create a, okay, that's really weird. I don't know if I even want to say that out loud. You were trying to have maybe 2 separate groups, for example, in your life, one group here, one group there. It's like having your friends and your coworkers meet each other, or your family and your coworkers meet each other, and there's something about that that doesn't really jive, if that makes sense. Like, yeah, here's the okay, this is another message coming out, and this is the top of the reading. There's something about that not being very, like, it probably isn't grounding as much as you want it to. So I'm just seeing this third triangle here. These 2 flew out kind of on the side. That those are not in line with these, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like I'm hearing you can get with this or you can get with that, right? But at the same time, like, you're not gonna really be able to ground a butterfly. So if you have a really free-spirited family and you work in corporate America, for example, those 2 things don't really work together. This would be corporate America building and building and developing, and everything needs to be sold as real estate and developed. And we need to use as many different small tidbits of money as we can to, sap that out of everything else. It's like this one lives in a tree. If you're going to be sapping things from a butterfly, which is the message here, you're not going to get a very emotional response. Butterflies are probably going to die or fly off. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the kind of, I'm maybe not giving the greatest examples, Let me see if I can use a different deck, and we'll see the map shifter and how that kind of looks in terms of the long term. Yeah, there's it's just no secret here. You know that it's like no secret that the way that you function at work maybe, or however it is, like those two things just aren't coming together. People are like, no, there's no such thing as water on the moon, and you're like, yeah, well, I'm an astronaut, so my boundary is to tell you that I've been to the moon and I've been to Earth. And if you don't understand the connections between them, or how to fly a space shuttle, you how are you going to tell me that there's no water on the moon? Like, you know, this is, I kind of do like that corporate America example, just because it does kind of denote that you've got a profession, but that your profession doesn't define you 100%. You also have your own personality that you may have interests, hobbies, um, side gig, whatever the case may be, that also don't necessarily have everything to do with being corporate or building something that is going to demolish other. It's almost like being a mom and pop shop. So you're really into like family, you're very family oriented. But when you go to work, you have to be a commercial realtor or something like that, where you're not really thinking about anything except for the bottom line. And that bottom line actually is in direct conflict with your personal beliefs. Yeah, there's the boundary. That's the boundary that you've set. I really would maybe go look at the Gemini reading. This came out for Geminis in the first place, just the same way. There's something about you needing to set boundaries when it comes to that kind of stuff. So I'll give you another example. I'll try to keep it in the same professional sphere, but it's kind of like being really grassroots oriented, wanting to support grassroots efforts, wanting to march and to represent the things that you believe in. But then when you go to work, you're having to represent like sales or something, and you could be really good at both. You could be really good at standing up for a cause, and just I'm staking my claim right here, and that's my message. You want to spread the message, but at the same time you have to survive. So you can't just quit your job, and you can't just walk away from what you believe in either, though. It's women's rights or civil rights or some type of large scale effort that you've made on a personal level, that's not coming together with a like an overall kind of survival instinct is the best word that I could use for that knowledge. It's having 2 pages in the book. Okay, so there's 2 sides to everything. I think you might be a very multifaceted human. Yeah, look, this is the strength in the reverse with number 44. It See how she's teetering? She's kind of like got the world on her shoulders a little bit. If you've never seen the movie Atlas Shrugged or read the book, it might be interesting to you. That's the same thing. It's like this idea of taking flight. It is something that you are interested in, but you're also not willing to um, sacrifice your strength or stop protecting your treasure in order to do that. That is not okay. That is not, you did not sign up for that. Okay. Um, let's see what else comes out here. Yeah, this is number 52, the magical map shifter with the full moon in reverse, meaning as you are looking out into the future, as you're creating your plans for yourself, as you're creating plans for your life, you want to be able to say, oh, what is it that Gandhi says? When you think, say, and do the same thing or something like that, then you've like actually self-actualized. I'm paraphrasing horribly, but it is basically having this mindset of knowledge that includes staying open-minded, but also being unwilling to just put down all of the memories from the past that have made you who you are, the experiences, the education that you've had, the what's actually holding you strong and firm here as a magical map shifter, and that is no secret, is the fact that you can kind of you have a compass inside your own heart space, and you're not going to share that. You're not going to your cup can runneth over all it wants to at work, with other people, whatever, but you're not going to just share every part of your world with other people. That's, I mean, unless you so choose to do so. Okay. This is number 21. And it's like you want to be balanced to the point where the knowledge that you have can extend and then become pervasive in a way that you can share your hobbies with the people that you are coworkers with, but they're not going to try to like encroach on your space, for example. That's really important. It's very difficult to do. I was about to say. Here's Stuck in the Mud, coming out with the ghost lands. So it's almost like you have to ghost part of it's when you leave for work, you turn into your work self. When you come home, you're at home. It's the same thing as having multiple um, parts and pieces that make up your whole identity. It does not have to do with like having multiple personalities or anything. I'm talking about when you're in mother mode or father mode or parental mode, that's where you are. When you are being a lover, you're being 100% intimate with your lover. When you are at work, you're totally a salesperson, or you're totally a developer, you're totally, okay, do you understand what I'm saying? That you have to know how to shift gears. You can't just be in one, like all doing all of it at one time is overwhelming to anybody. So don't feel badly if you feel like you've not been able to find your footing quite yet. This is a lot of practice goes into it, and a lot of people, myself included, are still learning. That's what life is here for, is so that we can learn how to exist within ourselves while also interacting outside of ourselves. And there are times that you're going to have to be more outside, and there's times that you're going to have to be more inside. It does not necessarily mean there's something wrong with you. Introverts, extroverts, they exist. And they always have, and they always will. There's hunter-gatherers. There are, people. I've read a book about different people having different personality types. Like I forgot what that, I think it's Myers-Briggs personality test that you can take, but it lets you know if you're like an ENFJ or an INTP, whatever. And that just stands for like introverted. It tells you, I would go look it up because I don't have it all memorized and it's been a while since I referred to those. Yeah, here's the Panther in reverse. That's interesting because a lot of really large cats just came out. And it's almost like these two cats they might coexist in the same forest or in the same jungle or the same whatever, but that is like the aggressive part of you, and then the more mellow, down to earth, intuitive part of yourself. You have to find a way to protect both, or else one becomes an endangered species. Just the way I want to put it. If you decide that at your job you're going to do more than at home, or at home you're going to do more than at your job, that is also endangering yourself in the species versus alien kind of like, well, I'll be part of the human species, but at home I'm kind of alienated. I'm going to alienate myself from other people to keep that protected. That's the difference. There's not a lot of ways for me to explain that. You can't force yourself to be somebody that you're not. However, you can learn that these two just don't, you probably wouldn't want to invite them to sit next to each other at a seating chart. Like if you had a wedding seating chart, these two would not want to sit next to each other, okay? They're not compatible like that. Yeah, here's the Puma coming out with a message that is not strong or of losing strength somehow. You really probably want to go look at the Gemini reading. You may be dealing with a Gemini. There could be something about, the Geminis are notoriously known for having two faces. I don't think that's really how they are. However, I do think that they have a tendency to do this thing that we were just talking about very proficiently. Okay. And that could be what's coming out here. It's like the message is that this Puma, now we've got 3 big cats on the table. These 3 cats can't sit next to each other. They cannot. You might want to feed all of them the same food. That's fine. But even at the zoo, there's walls between the animals because you can't just put all the cats in one enclosure and think that they're all going to get along with each other. That's awkward for everyone involved. Okay. There has to be some type of sympathy for the differences as well as the similarities. So they can all be in that section of the zoo so that we can all have, cat time together. But it's gonna get real catty, like real catty, like okay. If you put all of them together, it's too many cooks in the kitchen. They're all very dominant. They're all about more or less the same size, right? And that isn't like respectful of their boundaries, especially if you're gonna try to put them in cages or box them. They're gonna kill each other. Okay. Here's a coyote coming out. This is I don't know why, but it's coming out with number 52, the map shifter, and this is the coyote and the moon. Like the full moon is in reverse here. But there's something about like if you ever seen the movie Coyote Ugly, she is a guitarist, or she's a musician, I should say. I think she plays the piano too. But anyway, she meets this guy and she's also like kind of into the bar scene and like a bartender. And she has to figure out how to pursue her dream as a musician, which is very much different from the bar scene, and have a relationship. So that is very much about balancing out all these different I don't want to say secret, but the full moon is here. There's a song called Can't Fight the Moonlight. Can't Fight the Moonlight. Can't Fight the Moonlight is more or less talking about that. Like, when you try to resist, you can't hide from my kiss. Don't you know that I can't fight the moonlight? Okay. She's like, these are the natural ebb and flow of my life. It's not something that is going to change for somebody else. If you want to be part of it, be part of it. And if you don't, feel free to go. It's just as simple as that. And that's just go watch the movie if you've never seen it. It's kind of cute. It's like a little romance, comedy, drama, chick flick, I would say. And then for Field of Dreams, we have the Dove. Field of Dreams with the water in reverse. Yeah, it's like if you've got this many different irons in the fire, let's put it that way, okay? You are needing to kind of like rotate, or if you're have that many different things in the air and you're trying to keep your focus and juggle them all, that's great. That's good for you, However, there can't be a whole bunch of emotion going toward just one thing. Like you can save one of those if you kind of, oh, I just did it. I just did it literally. That was the juggling that happened, and I was able to catch one. But if all 3 of them had started flying all over the place at the same time, I only have 2 hands. You know what I'm saying? There's only one you, Aquarius. Don't thread your thread. Yeah, when you're trying to connect the dots between all of these different places, knowing how to be stuck in the mud, but also understanding. I haven't gotten the top of the reading yet, so let me just wait for that. If you're trying to know how to get unstuck from the mud, but you are stuck in the mud because you're 10 toes deep into the, whatever it is that you're doing, you there's something about this dove energy. This is sexuality, peace, and divine inspiration. Okay. It says here, although Christ was born of a virgin, he was conceived by the Holy Spirit, which is represented by a dove. In Greek mythology, Aphrodite, the goddess of love, was born from the egg nurtured by a dove. So if you're aerial born and you're in the air looking down at all these different projects that you've got going on, right? If you're a dove and you're trying to sit on your nest, keep all of these eggs warm at the same time so they can incubate, you're not going to be so emotionally inclined to overextend for no reason, if that makes sense. This dove is denoting that. It's like have some grace for yourself. Give yourself some grace, because this is even though Christ was born of a virgin, so you could just be like, I swear to God, I'm innocent in all of this, but I can't sit on all these eggs at one time. Conceived by the Holy Spirit. And I don't care if you're religious or not. That more or less just says, like, sometimes you just gotta give it to a higher power to help you to deal with whatever it is that you're going through, and have confidence and faith in the fact that you will get through whatever it is that you're struggling with. I don't really know which one. I think this one wanted to come out. This is goal, the water, creation, and emotions. Yeah. So I'm taking that for the top one. That's here. That's the goal is going to give you some water. When you have goal, it's like the audacity of something, or the strength of something. It's knowing your own power. And part of knowing your own power is knowing when you've lost, when you've become emotionally unbalanced, or when you're emotionally exhausted, or when you're emotionally charged up and ready to go, so you can do whatever it is that you're doing, and it won't drain you as thoroughly as being caged up with 3 different species of predator, um, friend or foe. That's kind of what this is. It's all of the above. So anyway, sorry that was a bit longer than I anticipated, but longer than anticipated is sometimes good. Good luck.